start this recording up here. All right, so we're going to get into this weekly review. I'm going to start going over each market. So I'm going to go over the trades that I took, and then at the end, you guys can ask any questions. So start off. We'll start off with indices like usual. So I was bullish this week, and I will tell you why. So I told you guys last review to watch for this daily order block sensitivity and watch how this weekly candle opens up. Okay, I said that we could have went bearish if this weekly candle opened high into this gap. But what ended up happening? If you go to an hourly chart and you mark the weekly open, exactly like outlined, we open up, we range on Monday, which was anticipated. Okay. And actually, I should have these lines on. Yeah. Let me make these a little darker so you guys can see. So these are the daily lines. But Monday was a range, and Tuesday did what? Tuesday opened up into Monday's low and this key level. Okay, Tuesday at high probable low a week into this key level, and at 9 a.m. So this was a very, very clean turtle soup. 9 a.m. below Monday's range, high time frame key level. Yeah, I really like this trade. But even if you didn't take this trade, you now know if you're anticipating, right, you're anticipating the weekly candle correctly. You now know that this weekly candle should be bullish and that you can trust this low. Okay, so how do you enter on that? Well, you expect a failure swing, and you can buy bullish turtle soups under lows at key times. Okay, I saw this one this week. Now, NAS was a lot less clean than Dow, which I'll show why. But we had a 10 o'clock SMT right here with S&P as well as Dow. This would have been a good long. Again, I think was there. Yeah, there was. I wouldn't have traded anything in this day. There's not really any key levels to go off of. But the reason I would have traded Dow over NASDAQ, if you notice, right? When we get this turtle soup in, for me to catch a failure swing, I now need to see another turtle soup happen like this. Okay? But if you notice, NASDAQ had no lows in here, right? It was just up, down, range. Versus, if you look at Dow, when Dow had its turtle soup on Tuesday, below this Monday range, we had a liquidity pool in a range form right here. Okay? Pump, we put in a low, we range, and then when we protract here, we have a liquidity pool to soup. Versus NASDAQ, there's no liquidity pool in this leg up. Okay? Which is why I would have favored to trade Dow this week. Right? Same thing here. We had a London low day and what? New York OTE. Right? This would have been another easy buy. I probably wouldn't have bought up here, but New York OTE, London low a day. We also have this failure swing from the Tuesday. I think Dow was very, very clean this week based off of this liquidity pool when NASDAQ and S&P did not have it, right? Which is why I believe they were a lot sloppier this week and why we saw worse delivery from them. Okay, because they didn't actually have any liquidity pools. They wanted the turtle soup. And if I were to enter on this failure swing here, I would have needed something like this on NASDAQ to take some form of low at a key time. I wouldn't have entered just here. Okay. But as for next week, I do anticipate that for this to be the draw, right? We're still holding bullish PD arrays. We had a turtle soup. This next week, although it is Thanksgiving and we have a bank holiday, so I don't expect much, which I will get into later. But this does look like the draw. Okay. We should gravitate towards here. Now, it is good to note that I would watch this premium gap, but I'm not as worried about it because we're respecting a higher time frame key level, a weekly key level. So this daily, I'm anticipating to get ran through. So that's what I'm looking at indices. Just bullish. Now we didn't really create any very good key levels on NASDAQ, but what you can do is you just want to wait for this week to open up, take some form of sell side liquidity on a key day at a key time, and then buy from there, right? Targeting these highs. And it is possible that we get another accumulation week because we have a short week this week and it is week 4 of the month, which tends to be a slower week in general. So it's something to look out for. Any questions on indices? Anything at all? Before I move on to Forex? Nothing. All right. So I'm going to first break down the trade I took. I'm going to show you guys, if you check my Twitter, why I anticipated this daily gap on GU to get tapped multiple times. Okay. I'll start with that and then I'll look at what I was looking at. Okay. So starting at the weekly, right, top down, we had a sell side liquidity pool that we were obviously targeting. Okay. This was an obvious target. So I anticipated that in an expansion, bearish key levels are going to hold, right? So we have this daily gap here on, and let me go to GU. And GU had, we didn't have a daily gap on GU, but we had a range, okay? We had 3 candles within each other right here. Oops. Okay, so my narrative was that EU would tap this daily gap, GU would purge this range high, and we get expansion lower to the sell side draw. Okay, that was my framework going into this week. Now, looking at EU, okay, why is it that we had tapped this gap so many times, right? How can you anticipate this? How do I know not to short here, get stopped? I think one of you guys took this short here, and I told you that I didn't want to take it because it was the end of the week. Okay. Why did this get stopped? Why did this get stopped, but this one didn't? Right? As turtle soup traders, we need to know and anticipate certain reactions from key levels, so we can understand when is the time correct for us to enter. Right? If you draw out the weekly open, okay. Now, anticipating this is entirely due to time. Okay, it is entirely due to time. Why would this high not stay intact? This turtle soup and this key level? Well, if you look at the previous week, right? This week was a what? It was an open high, expansion, close, right? The simple mechanics of a candle. We open high, we expand, we close, right? That's exactly what you see here. Now, I do not expect this to hold because it is the close of this higher time frame candle, right? You cannot trust a closure of a higher time frame candle to sponsor a move, right? Remember, it's always trading new candles, okay? Which is why I anticipated this liquidity pool to be taken, because this now turns into a liquidity pool for the next week to open high, right? You can't trust this high because it was not created at the right time, right? It was created at the end of this candle, which has already done its job. It has already expanded lower, right? And we end in consolidation, okay? Which is why I anticipated multiple taps of this daily FEG. Now, why would this one get ran? This happens to do with time, okay? Number one, it's a Monday, right? I'm not that Monday can't set high a week, but it's not likely to. But another reason is look what time that it hit this key level, okay? Time of day is key for SMRs, okay? We hit it at what? At 1300 and 1400. I'm not expecting a PM reversal on a Monday that had an open high, okay? If you look, we had SMT here, okay? So this day, to me, was we open, SMT, turtle soup, and another asset, and go higher, right? This is what Monday was to me, which is why I would not short this day, which means I automatically need to wait for Tuesday. Okay? Now, Tuesday does not take this high. Okay? It waits till Wednesday. Wednesday opens at 1800 right here, and we instantly purge it. Okay. Now, part of my rules is I do not take trades before midnight. Okay, so I did not take this. But what happened on GU was we had an SMT at news, right? The first red folder of the week, purged a range high, created SMT with Euro. If you see here. Okay. This was the best entry. I don't like taking trades in Asia, so I would not have taken this turtle soup. But once midnight happens, once we get that SMT with a red folder news, first red folder news of the week into a key level. Okay, this is the perfect time to short. Now, I did not blindly just short this. If you go to a 15-minute, we had a open low of this 15-minute candle. So I waited for this 15-minute. Now, I did not enter above this high. I waited for, on a 5-minute, I waited to make sure that we rejected, right? Because again, we still have major SMT with Euro. I don't know where the hell it just went. That's all right. We still have major SMT with Euro at this high. So once we reject this turtle soup, right? New candle open, turtle soup. We create a CSD. This was my entry. Okay. And this is exactly how, and I told you, I think I told Jots at the earlier of the week, I did not take any partials on this trade until the range low is hit. Okay. So this was my first partial and full partial, was this range low. Right? This is what OSOC is. One shot, one kill. And this is what I've been focusing on recently, is you are anticipating a weekly candle expansion. You're picking a key level to sponsor that move, and you're trading from the high of the week to a draw on liquidity. Zero partials. Okay. So this was my trade idea. Now, I had also added in on this trade idea right here. Okay. I'll keep that on. So, well, before I move to this, does anyone have questions on why I entered here? Does it make sense? I want you guys to make sure you understand why this was a valid setup in my eyes. Before I move on to my pyramid. All good? Good. You said that you used as a range because it was a daily CRT, right? Monday and Tuesday stayed within that Friday candle. Yep. So Euro had the daily key level, right? GBP did not have any daily key level, if you look. Okay, it was just a range. But I know if I'm bearish, Euro is bearish. Euro has a dole. Euro and GU follow each other and are inverse to DXY, right? And DXY is pumping. Then a range high will reject, and Euro will use this daily FVG to go lower. Okay, which is why I use this range high with these two inside candles as a key level for GBP. Okay. Now, when I entered here, I had pyramided right here to this low. Because, okay, if you guys look on the daily chart, what, if I replay it to here, what do you expect the next day to do? Someone tell me in chat. What is the next day responsible for doing? Sell day, right? Classic sell day. Why? Because it's a 3 candle, right? You have a range, accumulation, manipulation. Next day, classic sell. Buy or sell below the open, right? My anticipation was that this next day would be a classic sell day to this low. Okay, which is why I pyramided on this day. What I was looking at, if I mark the open of this day, which was, oops, just right here. Okay, if I mark this midnight, and I wanted some form of key level and liquidity pool to be taken, right? The same thing I always tell you guys: time, liquidity pool, key level. I had marked out this range on a 15-minute chart. Here, this range high, I won't mark it. And also this range high. Okay. If you notice, this range high got SMT'd on DXY. Right, DXY had took it right here. Right at 1 a.m. Euro had SMT'd. Excuse me, GU, because I was trading GU. GU had SMT'd this high at 1 a.m. So my pyramid was right when DXY took it. I put my stop loss at the SMT'd high, and I targeted this low. Okay, I got a little bit better fill than this. It was like here. Okay. These are my trades, right? One idea, one setup, 2 trades. Okay. And now I want to share something with you guys. This one well-positioned and one calculated swing trade can make up for hundreds of scalps. Okay. I had bought a 200K combine prior to this week alongside the 200K funded that I was trading. And I had passed it in one trade. Okay. This one trade I made 20% on, risking 1%. Right? One trade idea making 20%. Reason being is I had conviction to this low. I traded the SMR and I pyramided on a day that I expected to be a classic sell. Okay, if you look, the RR on this first trade was 16.7 and this one was 3. Okay, about 20%, which is I passed the account in a day pretty much without over leveraging. So I just want to show you guys the power of, number one, holding with your idea, but having a plan, right? Having an in-depth plan and trading it and holding it to your terminus, right? That's true trading. You can take 10 scalps and you're not going to make 20%, right? You want to do what is less work but more profitable in the long run. Okay. So even if you are a scalping trader, set your scalps up for possibly the daily range, right? If you're a 1-minute trader, for say, and you were trading this Wednesday, you know, maybe you're not looking at an hourly chart or a daily chart, but maybe you can anticipate that, okay, this day is going to be a classic sell day. So I'm going to short above a high at a key time, and I'm going to hold for the range, right? An entire daily range, okay? Then maybe you take a trade around here, okay? And instead of partialing right here, you hold for your idea, right? My idea is that this day is going to be a classic sell, so I'm not going to get out within 5 minutes. I'm going to hold for my entire idea, right? And then this is when profitability really scales up, is when you can do things like this, okay? So just build confidence in your draw and liquidity, and build confidence in holding, and it should help you a lot. But any questions on EU or GU before I go to, I'll check out crypto and gold and stuff this week as well. Any questions over any of this? What's the prop firm? I use a couple. I'm in My Funded FX, Alpha Capital Group, E8 Markets, to name a few. I recommend My Funded FX though, if, just for a base level account. Yeah, that's one more thing I want to tell you guys. I might not even take a trade this week because we're gonna have a shortened week because of Thursday bank holiday. Usually, last day of the month is slow, especially after bank holiday. It's gonna be even worse. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are gonna be the only days, and it is week 4 of the month. So I'm not anticipating anything huge for this week. Maybe just some scalps, but again, I've turned it into more swing trading, so I probably won't take anything. But let me get into gold. So, and I had actually, funny you say this. Oops. I'd marked this out, right? We have a monthly key level, remove that, in a bullish market. We have a FVG below a low. I wanted to trade this, but I'll show you guys why I didn't. We did not have any proper range, okay? When we come down to this key level, and we don't have any range, right? It's just an expansion. It's an expansion to an expansion. I don't take trades like this. For me to enter here, which I was planning to, but it never provided a setup, I needed a tap, the key level, a range, and a soup, like this. Okay, kind of like my GU trade, I was taking the soup of a range. Okay, in this example, we just expand to the low, expand right out of it, which is one of the reasons I didn't take it. But on gold, it's fairly obvious we're going to go back to all-time highs. We're most likely next week we're going to consolidate, and then we're going to use this weekly key level to go higher. Oops. Okay, I would anticipate we get something like this week, and then the new month opens. We take this low and we pump up. Okay, this would be a good range trade, right? We form a range, turtle soup, bullish market, key level, expand. Okay, that could be something that you could look for in the coming weeks. Crypto, absolutely pumped. I hope you guys, any of you guys get into Bitcoin when I told you guys to, or at least when I got into Bitcoin. Did any of you guys get in? Oh, you did, but closed. I mean, I had a. Oh, you didn't leave runners? Yeah. I probably got out of 50%. I've got a decent bit in Bitcoin. Nice. Yeah, I had bought a bunch. Where was it? Right around here. When I took that first Bitcoin position right here, I had bought a bunch on Coinbase. Not leveraged it. I'm out of all trades on Bitcoin, but just purchasing wise, I bought a lot down here. No, I haven't gotten into it yet. Yeah, I wouldn't anymore. It's on the news now, so anything can happen. Never trade it when it's on the news. But I'm personally not going to be trading Bitcoin at all. We're around 100K. Anything can happen now because we're just pumping. So it could just keep going, not give any retracements, or it can just randomly dump because it's on the news now. So I'm not going to put my money into Bitcoin. I liked it a lot better when we had action like this. So, but I mean, I think that pretty much covers everything. You guys have any questions? Any questions for me while I'm here? All good. lows that take highs if you don't mind. Yeah, no problem. I'll use GU as a very good example. This is a perfect example. So let me just show it over here first. So lows that take highs and highs that take lows are important for turtle soup because, right, the common misconception of a lot of people is when we're bullish, price is just going to do this, right? Which is wrong because price moves from expansions to ranges to expansions to ranges, okay? Price doesn't actually look like this. Price looks like a range. We soup it, we expand, we range, soup, expand, we range, we soup, we expand, okay? This is how price moves. Now, lows that take highs are very important because it is a form of pending liquidity, right? If you look from the short side, if we have a retracement and we take this low, this is now a liquidity pool that has yet to be turtle souped, right? From this turtle soup of this range. So this low or this high that took this low is now a candidate, if we're still bearish, for price to form a range within this to turtle soup. Okay? And to show a live example of this, you can look at DXY because that's what we SMT'd with this week. Okay? And let me remove everything here. So under this turtle soup here, what we do, we put in a low, right, that has not been turtle souped. We broke this high right here, and then we ranged, right? Again, think of price in expansions and ranges, right? Even here, this low broke this high. We ranged, and we came back to soup it, okay? We came in, we put in a low, we broke this high. This then turned into a range for us to turtle soup, okay? The same thing here. This low broke this high. This turns into a range for a turtle soup. Okay, this is what price is. This is all it does, right? All we're doing is expanding or ranging. Okay, and ranges are either truly broken out of or they're falsely broken out of, which is turtle soup. Okay, so lows that take highs are just an indication, right? Once we form this and we start ranging, it's an indication that this low is a candidate for turtle soup. Okay, and then same thing on the flip side. Let me find a bearish example. Right here. Right, we expand from this turtle soup, right? We take this high, we turtle soup it, we expand. Now we then have this high, which is a liquidity pool that has yet to be taken out, that took out these lows, okay? And we form a range. This range is falsely broken out of high that took a low and then expanded through. Okay, does that make sense? That framework, right? You have to just think of it as like a pending liquidity pool. What liquidity pools from a recent expansion have yet to be taken out, right? And you'll notice that they're always highs that take lows, lows that take highs, right? And that's where the range forms for you to look to turtle soup. Okay, it's always there. It's always in price. Even here. High that takes this low. We form a range. Turtle soup, key time, dump. Okay, it's always happening. You just have to make sure you blend it with time and a key level to make it high probability. Yeah, no problem, man. Anyone else got any more questions? What would it take for you to flip bullish on EUGU? Same thing. Let me go to GU for example. If you go to a monthly chart, we've just taken out a big sell side liquidity pool, right? It is likely that after a big sell side liquidity pool is taken, that we can get some form of retracement, right? It is reasonable in ERL, IRL context that is a reasonable thing to expect. But for me to actually trade it, I need a key level, number one. We have an FVG below this low. And number two, I need a range. Okay. Let's go to an hourly. And again, which is why I'm probably not going to trade next week. If we get an inside candle like this, okay, and then, which this is forming our range at the key level, right? Price moves in ranges and consolidations and expansions. If we form a range at this key level, the new month opens and we instantly target this low. This is now a false breakout of this range, right? Why? Because this is the first purge of a range that was formed. So I'd anticipate for it to be a false breakout, a turtle soup, and I'd target the other side, right? If we don't open like this, let's say we created a key level up here, we form a range, and the new month opens up like this, it would be wise to not be bullish, because why? We haven't had a turtle soup at the low yet, right? You have to read how price is acting, how candles are opening, right? Because if a new monthly candle opens up, it opens high into an old weekly high and rejects it, it's likely to anticipate that that monthly candle could be the high or high of the month, which means you shouldn't long the next 2 weeks. Okay, does that make sense? Reading these higher time frame candles, how they're opening, what key levels and liquidity pools they gravitate to first, and ranges, of course. Yep, sounds good. Just a week early to that idea, I guess. Yeah. Make sure that you never counter trend trades. I mean, look at this. This is actually a perfect example to what you were saying. For this week to be bullish, I need it to drop into the sell side liquidity pool first. Right? What's it actually do? It opens and it rallies into a high and into a key level. So I'm bearish to this low. Right? Simple as that. If this week were to open up, let me get rid of this. And the first thing that we did was we ranged and then we souped here at a key time. Boom, I'm targeting this, right? I'm longing this to this high. Okay? But in a bearish market, it's more probable for open high candles to be short, right? And not to chase the manipulation of a candle. I remember I was talking, I think, based it off the SMT at the low you didn't trust, but failed to see the open high. Yep. Yeah, this SMT at the low happened before this weekly candle opened, so I didn't trust it. Yep. Always trade. Time always comes first rather than price, right? SMT is all price wise. Time is validates SMT. But yeah, any more questions, you guys? All good. All good. All right. Looks like I will end the recording here.